to anybody who is here. We are the Minnesota Spirit Hunters, and we're here to just communicate.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Lurker here, and welcome to the Minnesota SpiritCast. We got, of course, myself over here, and of course, my the co-host Brandon from Minnesota Spirit Hunters. Hey, what's going on? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Interesting. I never thought I would be hosting this show. Marcus, you always do this to me and everybody else. Nah, I'm just kidding. We love you, brother. I appreciate this, man. So I'm wanted to show love and support to him and his team in return, because they always support me. So I'm helping Marcus out tonight with his show. So I'm showing him love and support too. Thank you, Marcus, as always. So let's not wait any longer. Let's bring on. We have a special guest, which is Aaron Hoffman from A View Beyond the Paranormal magazine. Welcome, buddy.
How's it going, guys?
Doing good. How about you, man?
Well, not too bad, Didn't expect View Beyond or Spectre Radio to take off the way it has, so been busy.
Well, that's okay, man. We got you. The show is supposed to start at 7 o'clock, right? What were you doing around that time?
I actually have a message that says 7:30.
I know. I was just teasing. All right. Well, let's see. We got some comments coming in. Let's go check out some of the comments over there. Let's give them a shot. Let's give them hi. What's up? I don't know who that is, but Crew Paracost podcast. What's up? Whoever you are. Hey, David. What's going on? What's up, Anthony from Wraith Worlds podcast? What's up? Thank you for stopping on by to the show. Okay. I hope you get thrown up on Marcus. Oh, God. That was for you?
What's up?
Hey, Vicky. Welcome. I know. I would have never thought I'd be hosting Marcus's show tonight. It's kind of a surprise. I know. Thank you, Vicky. Appreciate the love and support, as always. Hey, Lisa. That one's for you.
It's going pretty well. Hope you're doing well yourself.
All right, since we have you on here, since I had to pick on you a little bit, it's all out of love, brother. All out of love and support, since you like us a lot and stuff. So I do have a question for you, actually. So what made you start this magazine? Mind me asking. How did that go?
Well, the first issue was released in August, but in July, my wife and I were at a bookstore, and I was looking for paranormal literature, to talk about anything paranormal besides everything that is already out there. All the books and magazines I found were the same old. Popular location, popular ghost hunters on TV, and that was about it. And we're leaving, and I was just griping to my wife, and I was like, why can't I find what I'm looking for? And she goes, well, you have a graphic degree. Why don't you just start one? And I've been kicking myself ever since because she's absolutely right. And
it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Isn't that usually how it goes, though?
Absolutely. I mean, and I love my wife being a smart ass and no filters. So it keeps me honest and it keeps me, thinking all the time. But yeah, the magazine is really her idea.
Oh.
And so yeah, I put everything together, and December was our 5th issue, so things are going pretty good.
That is cool, man. I honestly thought it was your idea. I never knew it was your wife's idea. She's like, well, you got a freaking degree, so start a freaking magazine.
Yeah. Yeah, she told me that don't think like that a lot.
Oh my god.
You know,
That's
like
awesome,
sometimes when
dude.
people on Facebook are throwing beef, you know, I'm like, man, I could just punch them. She's like, well, why don't you just stop reading their posts?
She makes a good point. Sorry, bud.
Yep. No, she absolutely does.
Yeah. But so you started this magazine. What do you hope that this magazine will go in the future? Do you hope that it will go global? Do you hope it will be in like
Well,
bookstores or like regular stores? Like, what's your perspective on how far this magazine you think it will go?
um,
Not
the
Marcus. You
surprisingly
won't.
enough, surprisingly enough, the magazine is already global. I have readers in the Philippines, China, Rome, Europe, England, Canada,
What?
South America. Absolutely, it took me by
No,
surprise.
no fucking way.
Yep.
Seriously?
Yep.
How long did you started this magazine? Let me asking.
Well, it's August and it's December, so it's been 5 months.
5 months, and it's
Mm-hmm.
already that global,
Yep.
dude. Dude, I gotta congratulate you, man.
Well, appreciate it. I mean, like I said,
Dude,
it
that's
took me by
epic.
surprise.
5 months and it's already going global, dude. You should really pat
That's
yourself on the back,
awesome.
man. Seriously,
That is
most
really
magazines
awesome.
wouldn't even go that global within that
Yeah.
short amount of time, dude. Really,
Well,
seriously.
you know, it all comes down to being able to. I mean, if you want something bad enough, you'll work for it. And I put the ad out for that magazine on every uh, paranormal group page I can get, you know, tracked down. And I mean, the first couple of months, you know, I didn't get very many, but by that third month, that's when it really started, you know, expanding around the globe.
Oh wow, dude, that's amazing. But I wanted to ask the question, but on top of what I asked, but besides
Mm.
it going global, is it already like on your website? Is it on your Facebook page? Is it on YouTube? Or like, where can we find your magazine at?
The magazine itself, you can find that on www.avbmagazine.com. And it's a completely free magazine. You can read it on the site or you can download a PDF copy.
You hear that, guys? That's where you can find his magazine at. Um, do have another question for you. As far as the magazine goes, do you just write down like paranormal topics, or do you include like paranormal teams or like podcasts? I mean, what does your magazine consist of?
Well, the magazine consists of everything. I mean, I talk about classic locations and historical paranormal figures. I did one about how parapsychology got started during the Victorian era.
Ooh,
Talked about Harry Price, who was, by all definition, the first modern day paranormal investigator, because he's the one who started using physical science to either prove or disprove the psychic abilities during the 1800s. I talk about equipment, emerging equipment. I talk about how where you can get some of these equipment, and on the magazine website, I have a blog that tells people free software that you can get if you're just starting out in the paranormal field. And these help with photo editing, so you can enhance images and see if you have a shadow figure.
ooh,
Um, One of them is a free video editing, so you can make your own YouTube videos. You can enhance the videos, you know, highlight orbs or whatever. Excuse me. And the other is a audio program, and again, these are all free, but audio programs that allows you to eliminate a certain level of background noise, so you can actually clear up EVPs.
dude, that's amazing. Like you cover so many things in your magazine, and you offer tips too, as well for your readers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's great because we need a we don't there's not very many paranormal magazines. Let's be honest, okay?
Right.
Because you don't see them in the stores, you don't see them in corner stores, you don't see them anywhere. You usually see them online, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet.
And
Yet.
yeah. Well, we hope one day that we have Paranormal magazine, or hopefully if yours would go into stores one day, and maybe be published big time,
Yeah,
and maybe one day, that'd be great
yeah,
because
it would be because the other goal for the magazine is to get you know all the teams out there recognized, to get all the people who have gifted abilities or services, to get them recognized as well, so that they can try to help others who are, maybe going through a situation in their house, certain hauntings or whatever, and they don't know who to turn to. And a lot of times, if you turn to Facebook, you find a lot of, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, but you find a lot of people who are just not skilled enough or qualified enough doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing. And so with the magazine, I want to get like legit teams out there, and also location. There are so many locations out there that are going to end up disappearing because they're being bought out, leveled for strip malls or parking lot. And a lot of these places could be saved if people would just visit them. Um, like I have one coming up on Saturday, back to radio, Renee Madeira from Oksana Victorian. Beautiful Airbnb.
ooh,
But the city wants to tear it down. So she's trying to get people there, help her keep the place up, help it, get it spotted in public eye so that nobody, so nobody will take it down. So the magazine, I want people to, tell me if you have a haunted location, let me know, and I'll advertise it. I'll do whatever I can to help you preserve your haunted location, and I'll help teens get recognized so that they can get into other places they normally couldn't on their own.
that's amazing, because not only you're showcasing teams and individuals too, but you're also preserving locations
Mm-hmm.
for in your magazine, because it could have historical significance, and it can play in historical societies, and depending on what city and location,
Right.
this could be a big difference,
Mm-hmm.
or it could solve a murder case, or it can like
Yep.
uncover more history behind the city or the town itself.
Absolutely.
So I can see why you're doing this in your magazine, which you're that's phenomenal. Really, it is, because you're making a difference in the paranormal community right now with your magazine.
I
It may
hope
not
so.
seem like much, but you're making a huge difference.
Right.
you know, Definitely, man. I'm props to you on that, man.
Well, thank
100%.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So when you hope to put these locations in your magazines, you hope that maybe one that they won't like tear it down or anything. Maybe they'll preserve it and probably invest more about these locations. Is that the goal here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's one place here in Minnesota that actually inspired that, and it's known as the Old Anota Insane Asylum. And it was built in the 1900s, and they designed it to look more like a summer getaway so that it didn't, add to the mental distress. Or if it looks like a nut house, you're going to feel terrible. But if it looks nice, then maybe it'll help relax you. And for a while, they were abandoned, and there was talk about getting rid of them. And I both applaud what they do now, but I also have serious concerns about it. They took one of the buildings and repurposed it to be a shelter for homeless vets.
Oh,
I like that idea, but I'm worried because these soldiers already suffer PTSD, and you're
Yep.
putting them in a location that has a history of bad mental health practices, a lot of torment, and
right.
how is that going to affect the soldiers?
Yeah, because sometimes when it comes to like locations or it doesn't necessarily mean it's always good energy. Sometimes there's like bad negative energy, and
Mm-hmm.
energy leaves like an imprint in these locations, and when you repurpose a building for something else for a purpose, it may not be a good effect on them. It
Right.
can make it worse. So I get what you're saying. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of
Yeah.
those buildings are still like 80% original building material, so there's a lot being stored in them.
Yeah. I mean,
I know where he's talking about. That's one place I've always wanted to go, but they haven't really let hardly anybody get in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say this: if the company, it's a private company that's doing it for the homeless vet, if they get a hold of another building and start working on it, that's when you want to maybe talk to the owner of the private company and be like, hey, I know you're about to get started. Can we do an investigation before you?
Yeah.
You might have a better shot that way.
Or at least take pictures or video. Like, try to get, like, go through, like, the building to see maybe they have, like, documents or, like, archives of the place.
Yeah.
Not just the building. That place has a honeycomb of tunnels that run underneath it, how they would transport the more violent patient.
Oh.
Up here by Pine City, where I live, there is a place that used to have a mansion, and it had a place where it was used for a tuberculosis treatment place, and it was used for a whole bunch of different things. Yep. And when I was a teenager, I actually went in there a couple of times, and there was an underground tunnel that leads from the tuberculosis treatment area to the mansion. And then in between, there's a giant underground room that has an incinerator and everything in it still. Mm-hmm. And that shook me to the core. When I walked into that room and I seen that, face to face, right there, that was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the place that you're talking about, and I knew that it had the incinerator because in older places like that, when the incinerator is underground, you see these really weird smoke stacks coming out of the top in the ground.
Yep.
And we saw them, and I was like, holy shit, there's an incinerator in there. So yeah, that is a creepy place. It sits right in the bend of Snake River, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
The person that owns it is now living in a southern state, and he doesn't even really want anything to do with the place anymore. They want $100,000 for it.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I know. I've spent many nights sitting here going, how can I get the cash?
Buy it.
Well, it's not just that, but I understand that he's charging that price mostly for the property itself.
Yeah.
Because if you actually go in the building, I was in the building 2 years ago, and the amount of money that it would take to restore that place, that guy would have to come way down on that price. But
I agree.
The outside wall is still structurally sound.
The big problem that you would have would be getting rid of all the asbestos, insulation, because that is actually considered hazardous waste, and you would actually have to have it in drums and airtight bags and everything else to be able to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It would cost so much to be able to get that place back up to where it would need to be.
Yeah, you would need a qualified hazmat team for that, yeah.
Yep.
Even if you don't get it 100% all the way, at least get some of it back to what it was, at least half, so that way it could be used to maybe to check it out, maybe in paranormal investigations, or maybe just have a little tour, maybe.
Yeah, it's a unique place because when it was first built, it was a tuberculosis ward. Then it became not a seminary, but it was a special school for Catholic priests.
A priest, yeah, a priest training school, pretty much, yeah.
And then it became a drug rehab center for a while in the 80s.
Yep.
And after that, it sat vacant.
Yeah, there was a drug problem back in the 80s. Yeah, I watched a documentary about drugs was really bad in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You have any questions for him, Brandon?
What is your favorite thing about the magazine so far?
I don't know.
He's got a lot of favorites.
Well, it's not so much as that. It's just that, I'm the only one that worked on this magazine right now. And so when I think about all the work that I put into it just to make it all come together, each page is different. Each story is different. each team is different, you know. So it's really kind of hard to say what's my favorite part because it's all an individual facet of the paranormal. You can only compare. You can't compare one side to the other.
Yeah.
Now I
So your
did
story.
see that you guys went to Ferguson Cemetery.
Yep.
Uh,
That went pretty good. You know, we ended up having a paracarrier crash the park.
I saw that. That was.
yeah, I've been there a couple of times myself. The last time I went there, I went back to get something, batteries for one of my equipment, and I stepped over the chain, went to the car, got the battery, and as soon as I got right up to the chain, the whole cemetery disappeared, and all I saw was shadow shapes.
Whoa.
I still can't explain it to this day, and I didn't know what to do, so I reached over my shoulder and I grabbed the walkie, and I was like, Neil, do you want to come over here? And at that time that I was seeing stuff, my team was getting activity on the other corner by the boy's grave. So when he walked over and we walked back, everything stopped.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
man,
but
you just-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I just bet you're just like, after that experience, you're just like, you can't shake that out of your mind. Like, you have to like.
No, it still makes me think. You know, it's also like the time that we were at Colfax Cemetery on the haunted highway in New London here in Minnesota. Timberlake Road is right on the corner of that road. But anyway, I'm sitting there taking pictures of an owl. This is late at night in the dark. I'm taking a picture of an owl flying away from a tree, and I felt something brush up against me. And I thought it was Neil, so I leaned over with the camera, like, hey, check out this owl. And I get no response, and I'm like, hey, Neil? He's like 30 feet in the opposite direction. And it literally felt like a kid standing next to me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not talk about an eerie feeling, especially in the middle of the dark. Like, you
Mhm.
don't know what the heck is out there. You don't even know what's touching you or anything. It could be a bug or something else. Who knows? You know?
Yeah.
And we feel that this place may be more active than usual because there are some local kids that take their ATVs and jump over the headstones and graves and leave track marks on the one side. It's really messed up.
Yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve, Aaron. Like, I hate when they damage or destroy properties with their graffiti, their trash, and then nothing against homeless, but sometimes homeless make a wreck of the place too, and it just hurts the value of and the preservation of the locations, you know, and that's why some of the cities want to tear it down, or like the people who bought the property want to get rid of it because they don't think it's savable or doable. But when some of those properties are doable and you can save some of them, you know.
Especially, you know, when people are always concerned about history repeating itself. So how can you avoid that history repeating itself if you get rid of the history and don't learn from it?
Right. It's going back to what I said earlier. Like, you could be destroying history that could be missing from a city or from a town, or it could be an important history that could tie into other things that are, you know, documented already. You know, it could be new discoveries. You never know. And once you destroy that property, it's gone forever. That's it.
Well, it's just like schools now about how they're not wanting to teach certain things that, you know, have happened in the past. And I mean, you know, if you don't teach about that stuff, how are people going to know, you know, not to be doing, you know, that?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's one of those things.
Yep, I get it. You can't fix stupid, and it's not legal to slap the stupid out of some people.
Yep.
I wish it was legal. Be like this. Oh,
you
hit me
with that flexible end of a fishing rod. What?
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, sorry, you got to fly there. It was on your face. Yep. I had to hit you.
Yeah.
Just find an excuse.
I don't want to have to go to. Yeah, I don't want to have to go to court and say I didn't hit him. I high-fived his face.
High-fived his face.
That's a good one.
Oh my god, I gotta steal that line from you. I gotta steal it. It's stolen already. Took it.
It was just one of those Minnesota, one of those Minnesota birds.
Minnesota birds. Maybe it's a Minnesota dab. Dab.
No.
Freaking mosquitoes.
I don't know if Marcus told you about this, but
What's
this
up?
coming spring, I want to get you guys out to Carlos Avery.
That'd be
Carlos
fun.
Avery. Have you heard about it?
Oh
Yeah. If you don't know what it is, Lurker, it is a wildlife management area.
Uh-huh.
And in 1912, there was a double murder. The guy who killed him, when he was asked why he did it, he said, "I don't know why I did it." In 1954, 57, there was a shootout between the Minnesota State Troopers and an Irish gang,
Whoa.
3 brothers, the O'Catholic brothers. 2 of them died on those properties. In 1980, a 6-year-old boy was kidnapped and beat to death with a tire iron out there. In 1989, a woman was burned alive out there in a domestic dispute.
Oh my god.
And in 2020, a guy by the name of Mort Seaway, his body was found out there. Now, there's a rumor, this was really big and it still is, that during the late 80s and most of the 90s, Carlos Avery was a body dump site for the local motorcycle gang. And when you ask the police about it, it's neither confirmed nor denied.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and this is like almost not on any paranormal radar at all. Very few people do. And I've been investigating that place for 2 years, and it just keeps blowing me away every time I go.
It sounds like they're trying to not disclose that information, or it sounds like someone's bribing them not to disclose it. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's a wildlife management area. So I would imagine that, because a lot of places like this that are run by the state are having trouble with the money. So why not have a place where you can charge for parking, something, and I mean, shit, do you know how many paranormal investigators would probably pay $50 to camp out there overnight?
Dude, they would eat that stuff for breakfast. Oh, ain't no joke.
So but yeah, I don't know why they're keeping it quiet, and I don't know why the paranormal community doesn't know much about it.
I have the feeling the reason that bad things kept happening there is once you have one traumatic event, it's just like things just kind of pile right on top of each other. After that first traumatic event, then it's one of those areas where it just becomes dark, and then more dark just keeps coming in.
Yeah,
it's like piling on,
Yeah, and it's crazy because I've gone out there during the daytime and done wildlife photography, and the place is so gorgeous. Eagle, crane, wolf, all kinds of wildlife. During the fall, the colors are amazing. But once that sun sets over that horizon, it did not look like the same place at all.
Like a whole different atmosphere than what you remembered or what you've experienced. That's for sure.
I can imagine it's probably one of those areas where it's darker than dark.
Yeah.
It's like when you point a flashlight in a really, really, really dark place, like your flashlight can only penetrate so much, and it's like the darkness clouds around your flashlight. Yeah.
It does feel like that because, one of the things that we've done is I've gotten out of the vehicle and walked probably about 50 feet in front of them with the K2 in the camera, because I was wondering if we were getting K2 hit because of, electrical components in the vehicle, which it wasn't. But those headlights, I didn't need to use my flashlight for probably a good 700-800 feet. It just cut right through. It gets dark out there.
Ooh. Better bring on the big old bright Lumi lights.
Yep.
2,000, 5,000 Lumis. At least.
Blind the goat if you have to.
One of those top grade military flashlights. Definitely pierce that darkness there. That's for sure.
Yep. Here in a few minutes, we do have an intermission. You got any more questions?
No, we're gonna go ahead and take a short little intermission, little break, so we can, get a drink or take a breather here and there. But we will be back on shortly, and we'll definitely ask them a few more questions after
All right.
this commercial.
It's been coming up like sun above. It's making us come together. Been making plans and joining hands. Come by me, stand and come together. When they know we've had enough, they'll try and call our bluff. But no, there's no stopping us. We're making a promise. Yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. They say we're weak when we don't speak, but they don't see us come together. Behind closed doors, we choose love, not war. It's at our core when we come together. They will hear us loud and clear. We'll walk right through the fear. And then once we'll all appear and say, we're standing right here, come on. Yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, yeah, we're starting up something. We're starting up something. Oh, yeah, we're starting up something.
All right, round two. All right, let's go. All right, you're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Go.
All right.
All right. Well, I do have another question for you in regard to the
Okay.
magazine. Let's just say a paranormal investigation team had uncovered something while they're investigating, and they have a story to share. Can they put it on your magazine?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, the other aspect of the magazine purpose is to get evidence out there and made available so that other people can check it out. And you can't have any kind of discussion if you're not really informed about something. And you can't really gain credibility for your evidence if you don't share with others so that they can look at it. So I want people to be able to feel free to submit their evidence, their theories. I mean, if you have an idea about why something may be happening, I'd like to hear about it. Your own personal experiences. I mean, whatever it is, if it's paranormal related, let me know.
Hear it, guys. Like if you have an important discovery, or you have a theory on a location, or it's something important you want to share to everybody, or that goes to that location in the future, he's your guy right there. Uh, Share it with him. He'll put it on the magazine, and that way everybody will be in the know about that location. So if they do investigate that location, they know what to
Mm-hmm.
what to understand about why it's happened. I mean, of course, every experience in the paranormal investigation, not everyone's going to have the same or similar, you know, feeling or experience.
Right.
It may be different than others. I mean, if they have different feelings or experiences or another discovery, do you think they can add on to what they had previous to the other discovery or experiences on your magazine? Maybe.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like any kind of intellectual forum, if ideas are exchanged, and if you can expound on one, or if you have a difference of opinion or an alternative way of looking at things, I want to be able to encourage this because the paranormal field already gets enough crap as it is for being a bunch of uneducated or uninformed or fake wannabes, whatever.
Oh God.
It's up to people like us to really come together and hash out our ideas and basically make the paranormal a legitimate or at least a respectable field of study.
I couldn't agree more. That is also one of my dreams and goals and hopes one
Mm-hmm.
day that paranormal becomes
I
an
agree.
actual field of study. Because it needs to be looked at and studied and understand more.
Mm-hmm.
As humans, we have to discover and experiment or try to see what is out there and try to comprehend and how we can put it in a sensible field of study. So it's very
Right.
just definitely very important that this is definitely overlooked, in the science community, for sure.
Right. Well, I've talked about this with a guest on my show, and I've heard her mention this before. Anna Marguerite Brandemart, who just recently joined the P3 family. We had a brief discussion about how how everything operates on frequency or vibration. And sometimes your experience and my experience might not be the same, not because that the location is different, but because you and I don't operate on the same frequency. Some ghosts might be more receptive to you because they can, line up with your vibe. Some ghosts might only be able to line up with mine. So that's why I feel it's important that we all come together because our evidence might only be validated if we put everything together and share.
Definitely, like Matt Barron says, the paranormal consultant, we're all of our evidence, all of our experiences, different or similar, no matter. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yep.
We're all
Absolutely.
putting the pieces together to make it one whole conclusive study of what the actual paranormal field is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We have to all come together. We have to all work together. We have to put aside our ego. We have to put aside our differences. And it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way of doing things. Everybody has their own styles and different techniques of doing things. if you can get the paranormal evidence, if you could validate that, that is something paranormal going on, that's all it really matters. It
Yep.
could be from the smallest thing to the biggest thing.
Mhm.
It's still a part of the piece of the puzzle that comes together.
Right. Yeah, before I disbanded my team, one of the co-founders used to get on me about, well, you're not in the video. And I always told him, I'm okay with that because it's not about me, it's about the evidence.
Yep. I agree completely because every video you're going to have people that are going to go through it with a fine tooth comb and they're going to be like, well, that could have been done with this, that could have been done with that. And I mean, everybody's going to look at it their own way, but there are videos where there's no explanation. I mean, you can't explain it.
Absolutely.
That's what I was exactly saying. Like, some things that you can't explain, like, that's the best part, because we need to look more into why we can't explain that. That's a good thing. That's what we want. I told in my previous show about EVPs on a different show, of course. That was a while back, but EVPs, there's difference between natural EVPs and EVPs that are like replicated by programs or like robotic. Okay, natural EVPs are hard to understand and very difficult to translate inside of thin air. Those are natural EVPs. Those are the EVPs you really want. Okay, versus EVPs that are like so clear and concise and make a whole sentence. I'll be lucky to even get a 3-word EVP, maybe 2. I'll be lucky if I even get that. That's the prime example of what an actual paranormal is.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think is interesting about EVPs is that it's not always voices that come through. My very first location that I investigated was a cemetery, and I had my audio recorder, and Tom and I were just sitting there talking to the spirit, asking questions, and we didn't hear anything. Now, this cemetery is in a peninsula surrounded by 3 sides by a lake. So there's nobody around. On the side that had the entrance, that's where you'll see the residents, but this is like 1 o'clock in the morning. So we call it a night. I get my audio recorder back. 2 days later, I go through it, and I'm listening, and all of a sudden I hear old-time music from like the 1800s playing faintly in the background.
Oh, yes, I love that.
There's no radio going. There's nobody up playing music. And most of the graves that were there are from the 1800s.
Dude, that's amazing. That's like rare to catch ghost sounds like that. That's extremely rare. Like music out of thin air like that. Like,
yeah,
the radio's not playing. That's even more tripped out. Like,
yeah, and the audio recorders are not designed to receive radio signal.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people confuse, like, some devices can receive, radio signals because it has like the FCC in the back.
Yeah. Or like if you're using a regular spirit box, they just cycle through, the channels.
I mean, nothing against spirit boxes, but it's not always like valid.
Yeah, there's always that small chance that the timing is just right to where a response could appear intelligent. But when you start getting those multiple responses back to back, then it's not a small percentage anymore. It's not going to happen. What you're getting is most likely legit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like phantom smells too, like certain type of odors and smells. I mean, it's not like super rare, but it is uncommon. Like, because you're not going to always get like smells or like, because I would have people say that when they investigate a location, they will have a smell of like perfume or a smell of like cigar smell or like those type of phantom smells are hard to come by too. Yeah.
Well, the whole thing about a cigar smell is, I mean, it is a strong smell. I mean, if you walk into a room and somebody's smoking a cigar, you pretty much know it like immediately.
Yeah, for sure. But sometimes you get to places, that's pretty much been abandoned and locked up, for years, and you start getting these smells, and then you might be onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but of course, when it comes to abandoned places, it could be the smell of best, like Brandon said earlier, mold, asbestos could make. So you don't want to confuse those phantom smells with those smells because that could be confused real quick.
Right. Well, and that's why I always felt that it's important that don't be afraid to learn something different on a practical level. I found that in my experience investigating here in Minnesota, and I know you're going to agree with me on this, because Minnesota has such drastic extremes in weather, we'll get triple-digit summers, and then we'll get like 35 below zero in the winter. That kind of extreme temperature plays hell on homes that have organic material like wood.
Yep.
So a lot of the sounds that people hear are really just naturally occurring. It's just because of the shift in climate.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you can learn stuff like that, learn how heat affects old-fashioned copper pipes or iron pipe, learn how electricity worked in homes that were built in the 1800s, because those wires are a different gauge, and electricity did not move the way it does today.
Yep.
Back then. So, I mean, don't be afraid to learn those kind of details, because they will help on your investigation.
Well, that's another good reason to be able to go through and do walkthroughs too, is being able to go in and see a place before you even get in there to be able to investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it does happen. People make mistakes. People, when they go in an old building and they hear a bunch of dang noises, they're going to think it's paranormal, but they don't think that, like, maybe it's probably the age of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it could be the pipes, the copper pipes, the iron pipes. It could be the way that it was wired, from back in the day.
Yeah.
Factors could come into play with this. So, you're gonna make a mistake. That happens. All of us made mistakes. Even I made mistakes. But
I've made them.
We learn from it.
There again, though, I mean, if you keep getting the same noise over and over and over again, now that's a different story.
Right.
There again, there's something making that sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had those situations where, we've gotten certain reactions or responses, and we're like, okay, now hold on. Let's keep at this, and just make sure this isn't just some fluke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got example like the lights where I used to work at a hotel. It would flicker on and off. My assumption, I thought it was maybe paranormal, but then I had to stop and think, like, okay, this is an old building. This is over 100+ years old.
Right.
Electricity wasn't run, like you said, wasn't run. It was run differently. So I was like, okay, maybe it's like, maybe the fuse or the switch probably going out, causing the lights to flicker. So debunked. That was good.
Right.
And if you have like old wiring going into new wiring anywhere, there's also going to be that little bit of a difference in between the wiring, and it's just one of those things that it makes it a pain in the ass.
And the ampage too. One ampage could be higher than the other. Cause flickering.
When you look at the old wires and how much power they ran from, they didn't have the kind of regulation we have. So there's a good chance that any of the like old vent or heat ducts or whatever that's near the old wiring, chances are you're going to get a lot of magnetic responses on certain EM detection devices. You don't even have to be near a power box. An old graded vent could be charged with so much magnetic energy because of 100+ years of electricity running nearby it. That's the other thing people don't really know. When you have electrical wire close to each other and there's power running through them, that creates a magnetic field.
Yep.
So sometimes you're hit. It's not paranormal.
Yeah, because that's why I don't use EMF readers when I investigate. Because going back to what you said, because EMFs can go pretty far out.
Yeah.
It spans. It can cover a good amount of area where you're at, and you don't want to get like false readings. Yeah, so I definitely agree with you on that.
Well, like with Ferguson Cemetery, we found out that not so much with K2 meter, but with actual EM detectors, we can't use those there because they actually pick up the power line that runs in front of the cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know that until, so we had to switch over to the older UK K2 devices because that's easier to discriminate between electricity or paranormal event.
Because it's not modernized, it's more like classic, and it doesn't use as
Yeah,
much technology as the modern K2 meters.
yeah,
Yeah, that would definitely help. That there you go, guys. That's something to learn about paranormal investigations. That we're learning from each other. All the discussions. We're taking notes, and it will help
hmm
us help us become better paranormal investigators. So we don't try to make those mistakes. You know.
right,
That's also why I love when I get into like old buildings that don't even have power in them anymore.
yeah,
Because
hmm
then you don't even have to deal with that struggle anymore.
yeah. It's really interesting when you get into those older places, mostly because I mean, especially if it retained at least 80% of its original building material or more.
Yep.
Man, you can. I mean, the stories all that would hold.
I believe it.
Oh well.
I believe it definitely. Since we covered the magazine part, I definitely want to ask you about the spectral radio. I don't know if I said that right.
Yep, you
Can you tell
Spectre
me,
Radio.
yeah, what made you start that spectral radio?
Well, originally I started it with Lisa Marie, um, and she approached me with the idea. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I have plenty of experience to tell things I want to learn from others. So yeah, I'm down for it. So I created a brand, the logo. Lisa provided a platform, and we just started posting podcasts with as many guests as we could. And I mean, I'm still doing that. Lisa has since moved on to other endeavors, one that's more suited to her personal preferences. And, I wish her all the best successes and all that. And I am just going to keep Spectre Radio and, you know, move forward with that as far as I can take it.
Nice. I mean, even though y'all went y'all's different ways, at least you'll still be able to continue on with your podcast and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Like, I mean, you know, when we all start our things, sometimes, we start a team or a
Mm-hmm.
podcast, sometimes, people leave, for different reasons,
Absolutely.
like we have to all respect that, even though it's not, even though you don't like it, even though you disagree with it, but still,
Right.
that's based solely on them, how they feel or what they think, what they
Right.
want to do
Yep.
with their life. We can't really control that or dictate that.
Right. And
But
I'm not going to hate on somebody because I don't want that kind of attitude coming back at me.
yeah, it's kind of like karma. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want that. You want good karma. You want like
Goes full circle.
Yeah.
you want good energy,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much positivity. So I get it, but that's cool that you started your own podcast too and everything. And was this before or after the magazine?
This was before the magazine.
Oh, this was before the magazine. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
I started
magazine came
off with
about.
I
Okay,
started off with my team Nightwatch, and then I did the podcast, and then I did the magazine.
gotcha. You have any questions for him, Brandon?
Do you have any plans in the future of putting your team back together?
It is a possibility. Um, it's just the two guys that I founded it with are life happened, and I'm not gonna sit there and try to make them put forth time to be a part of a group. They have their own life, and
Yep.
I want them to be happy. I want them to pursue whatever it is that they want. And if further down the road we decide to come back together, I'd be more than happy to do so. It also might be that I might just start a new team altogether. So we'll see. We'll see what happens after the winter.
Nice. That's
I do have another question. It's been bugging me. What is your favorite piece of equipment?
Oh man, that's kind of a tough one because each piece of equipment serves a specific function.
Yep.
So it's like trying to compare a piano to a Da Vinci painting. You know, but I will say that usually my go-to, aside from the video camera, would be uh, any of the spirit boxes or the K2, because those are the things that you can just instantly right away. You don't have to go back, wait till you get home, enhance stuff. If you get it, you know.
Mm.
All right. Well, I have a question for you now. So, what's your favorite location out of all the locations you've investigated? I know you got a few good ones lined
Yeah.
up.
Well, that kind of depends. I mean, I have a favorite location in a positive way, and then I have a location that has certainly been very intense, but I don't like it. Uh, the one that I like, that I do enjoy the most, is Carlos Avery, because the roads there are open 24 hours from mid-spring to mid-fall. So you can be out there investigating all you want, and nobody can bug you. You might get an occasional hunter coming up and, hey, what you guys doing? We had that happen. We had a hunter come up and he was like, hey, you guys been having any luck with ducks out here? Like, nope. We're not that kind of hunter. We're ghost hunters.
We're on your
oh, really?
dead people.
Like, what? How did that? Like, well, we have that device right there, and if a spirit goes by, it lights up because it manipulates EM field. And sure enough, beep 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 beep. And the guy just kind of went like that, got wide eyed. Said, well, yeah, good luck, guys, and drove right off.
Yeah, he just dipped out.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So yeah, but there is a location that it speaks to me, and that is the Garden of Remembrance, the cemetery of children and young adults who had mental disabilities or physical disabilities, and they were orphaned. They were basically just dumped off on the state doorstep because during the 1800s, mental health care was not that pleasant. It was still greatly misunderstood. And if nobody claimed the children, they were just buried in a plot with a brick and just their initials and the last two numbers of the year that they died. We went out there. First, we got some EM hit, but it was really weak, and we were about to say that, this place wasn't that haunted. And then it dawned on me that some of these kids came from the State Academy from the Deaf down in Faribault, about 100 miles from where this cemetery is. So I started talking in sign language, and we couldn't get them to stop talking. The K2 wouldn't stop blinking. Noises were coming through the SB7. We couldn't quite make it out, but it sounded like there was more than one person talking. And that place actually hit me in a way because I know what it's like to have a physical disability and just to be shut out. Because I went to the same school they did. I went to the State Academy for the Deaf down in Faribault. So having that connection is going to make your paranormal experience unlike any other.
Yep.
Definitely. I agree with you on that. Before I have one more question before we close the show for tonight. What is the one location that you want to go so bad that you dreamed so much that you want to go but you can't go, but you want to go so bad?
Antarctic.
Antarctic? Ooh, do tell.
If you think about some of the most important history that's ever happened in the history of exploration, the Antarctic was one of the most brutal. You look at the story of the HMS Endurance, captained by Captain Shackleton. Not everybody survived when that ship got embedded in the ice out there.
Mm-hmm.
Also during World War II, the legend of Nazis building a hidden base out there. How many of them died out there? There's actually a story of an entire platoon of SS soldiers that just disappeared out there.
What?
Never been found.
Just like that,
UFO activity, yeah. UFO activities, rumors of lost civilizations out there. I mean, Why wouldn't you want to check out the Antarctic? You can get the gear to stay warm out there, and I could be able to investigate. Hell yeah, I would.
Well, we've already pretty much got the gear because we spend every winter in Minnesota.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're just seeing your breath, but it doesn't freeze your face, that's barbecue weather there.
Hey, look, wait, we went through a winter storm last year, messed me up, almost died, froze to death, almost lost my fingers. I'm good, man.
So, yeah, I come from a line of Vikings, so my bloodline is used to the cold.
I believe it. My bloodline just goes from the really hot, humid jungle weather, man. Yeah. The cold weather, I'm so weak, I shake like a.
Yeah, it's your kryptonite.
Well, like he was saying, I mean, during the summers, there's been times where we've hit like 110 and like freaking 80% humidity. I mean, it's miserable. And then you have winters, like he was saying, yeah, where it's 35 below outside at night. And it's just, it blows my mind.
Yeah, when you breathe one and you see your breath literally turn into icicles instantly, you know, that's freaking cold. If you can step outside your door, spit on the sidewalk, walk 50 feet to your mailbox, come back and slip on that spit because it is now ice, that's freaking cold.
Yeah. I'm staying down here, guys. I'll stay where the warm weather and chilly weather is. I'm good with the 50s and 60s here. Oh my god, man, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on here, man. Like,
Glad I could come.
I'm sorry that Marcus, yeah, I'm talking about you, Marcus, bailed on us again. That's okay. I got something for you next time, Marcus. Nah, I'm just kidding. A lot of love, Marcus. I know what you're going through, buddy. I know you're going through a lot, but we're here for you. I'll be gladly to host your show again. If you need me to host it, I'll be more than happy to, man. I'll host it along with him too as well. So we got you, buddy. So Aaron, thank you for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate you. And guys, if you want to find his magazine, go to what?
website? AVBmagazine.com.
If you have any kind of stories, anything that theories, or like you want to share your evidence, or you want to promote your team, podcast, he's your man right here. Go check, hit him up, and he'll be more than happy to put it on the magazine for you guys.
Yep.
Bernie, you have anything for him before we close the show?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything.
We're beating him with
Yeah,
wrapping paper.
I'm getting hit with wrapping paper, so.
I think we should hit Marcus with wrapping paper.
Just show up to the next team meeting with, rolls of it and just start beating him.
All right, man. We're going to go ahead and close this show, guys. Thank you, audience, and for dropping by, showing your love and support, for this man right here. Absolute legend,
Well,
he's making a big difference.
I'll get there.
Well, you already are a legend. So making a huge impact in the paranormal community. We got to give this man props, and congratulations for making your magazine all around the world. So congratulations to you, brother. But anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. And thank you for stopping by. And we'll definitely see you guys next week. Well, I won't see you. Maybe Marcus will. But I got my own podcast. But anyways, have a good night, guys. Take care. Bye, everybody. Thank you, Aaron. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. All right?
All right.
Take care. Bye.